Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthiar, and this is another XCOM 2 video. It's a little something different this time. Today I'm going to talk about what I call my doctrine. It's kind of the thought process and plan behind how I choose what skills my troops get on promotion, what gear I give them, and how I go about choosing my battlefield and engaging the enemy. The intention of this video is not to try to claim that my way is the best way. It just is the best way that's worked for me so far and how my mind works in terms of the game and the strategy and the tactics. But I hope that it'll let people think about how their troops' abilities work together and maybe make their own conclusions and make their own doctrines and try to get more out of their unit than the individual abilities of their soldiers. And hopefully it'll lead to some more success for people in the long run. So this video is going to be broken into a few parts. The first part is going to go over the squad and the soldiers themselves, including abilities and weapons and upgrades and items and all that good stuff. The second part will kind of detail the theory behind how I try to move my troops around and choose my battlefields. And then the third section will be a brief kind of in-game mission sort of illustration of the setup before I engage an enemy, and I'll explain why I've chosen that location and the way I'm going to do it and why. So yeah, I think that without further ado, we'll just jump right into the squad and troop section. Okay, so this is my standard endgame squad configuration. Even with all the mods, Alien Hunters DLC, I use some of the weapons and the armors, obviously. I don't use a spark from Shen's Last Gift just because I think the utility from your human troopers is a little bit more useful, and you just get more tools. So we rock a ranger and a sniper, a combat hacker who is also trained as a leader from Long War's leadership pack. I guess I should mention that. Okay, so I'm using all the Long War Studios mods, so I get the leadership stuff. Obviously a bunch of cosmetic stuff, but that's the only one that really affects like the abilities and whatnot. You just get some extra stuff, so I'll explain that as well. I have a combat medic, because especially in the last mission and some of the more difficult story missions, it's nice to have that safety net of some medkits. Got the Grenadier, and I got a Psi Operative. That's my standard 6. So I will go into detail about each of the soldiers here in a second. But first, overall, I call my doctrine battlefield control. And that's because the Ranger Sniper pair are used to really dictate the terms of an engagement. You'll see the Ranger as Phantom pretty quickly, and I use that to really scout out an enemy so that I can continue to engage on my terms and terrain that's favorable to me in situations where I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to wipe out that enemy pod to give them no chance to shoot back. I don't want to give them any actions if I can help it. So that's basically the really broad overview of the doctrine. So now I will go into each soldier individually and kind of give you a rundown of what the dealio is. So the Ranger. The Ranger is probably one of the classes I mix and match the most on, and that's to make them as lethal to shotgun as possible, as well as the best scout I can possibly get. So obviously they all get slash, but I pick up Phantom so that they either start concealed if the rest of the squad doesn't, or remain concealed after revealing. Means I have to take some care not to get them flanked or whatever so that they get revealed, but it lets me maneuver them in such a way that I can get eyes on enemies before they trigger. Shadow Step, not triggering Overwatch reaction fire, is useful just all kinds of ways, but I think it should be pretty self-explanatory. Run and gun, implacable for that extra move after you kill something. Untouchable to make you immune to the next attack after you kill something. And then rapid fire to really pour on the damage. PCS speed for the extra mobility so that she can cover more ground. And yeah, that's her job, is to basically scout out the enemy and provide spotting support for the sniper. In terms of loadout, let's get that on there. You know, your basic armor, a shotgun type weapon that's rocking a superior autoloader and a superior laser sight. The laser sight, when coupled with the Talon rounds, makes her crit rate just ridiculous. A grenade for emergency like roof clearing or cover destruction. And the fusion axe replaces the sword so that you get the once per mission throw axe free action. So just a little bit more mopping up. Next we have my sniper, who is a pure sniper, straight down the sniper tree. Unlike some of the other classes, I don't really think that mixing and matching your sharpshooter is really useful, since with a lot of these abilities are only useful with the sniper rifle kill, whereas if you're gunslinger, you're probably doing a lot of work with your pistol. So I think with this kind, with a sharpshooter, you're probably choosing one or the other. I don't think I really need to explain much of these abilities. All I will say is, with the sniper, you want to get into an elevated position with good sight lines and then just rain death upon the enemy. Using superior focus, superior perception rather, for that plus 21 aim, coupled with the superior scope on her rifle, that means that she doesn't miss often and can take pretty high chance shots from extreme distances. In terms of kit, the Icarus armor is probably the single reason that I keep playing the Alien Hunters DLC, even though I don't really care for it in general. The Icarus jump ability, able to relocate pretty much anywhere on the map twice as a free action, is just ridiculously useful, and it's an incredibly strong ability. Plus, with the jump boots that are a part of this armor, you can actually jump up to the roof of buildings without having to have something to climb. So kind of like mechs can. So you can just hop up there, and so even if you're not using your Icarus jump, if you can use the turn to move, you can still get to a really good vantage point. Typically, I like to go with AP rounds. However, my sniper on this playthrough got Shredder as an AWC perk, which kind of meant I didn't need it. So I've been using Venom rounds because I didn't get Dragon rounds, basically. And that was just to get a little bit extra damage from the poison. Emergency grenade, Shadow Keeper. This is a bit better with a pistol, you know. So her job is to just get high with good sightlines and kill stuff. And the ability to relocate with Icarus jump makes that job even easier. I realize I didn't mention for the sniper rifle that I use superior scope, usually a superior expanded magazine. I don't have another one of those just now, so I'm using it in advanced. That's mainly so that Serial and Killzone have more stuff they can do. If you are fortunate enough to get the content bonus, lets you slap a third upgrade on there, adding an autoloader means Serial can start killing all the things if you get their health low enough. It's kind of terrifying. So my combat hacker is almost exclusively down the combat hacker tree, with the one exception of covering fire. I find this much more useful than threat assessment simply because covering fire is always active when you're overwatching, whereas threat assessment only works when you put aid protocol on somebody, and you'd only be able to do it once every 3 turns. So while I can see where threat assessment could be really useful occasionally, I prefer having stuff that are always going to help me, you know, assuming I'm in Overwatch. So that's that. Guardian is an incredibly potent ability. It's wonderful. Every time you successfully make an Overwatch shot, you get 50% chance for another one, and that'll go until you run out of ammo if you keep hitting that 50%. Which is why I've got the scope with the expanded magazine, which I'll show you in the loadout, is just to make that even more useful. Put a PCS conditioning on this particular specialist because she's also my leader, and my leader abilities are pretty much exclusively passive abilities. Collector, Defilade, Scavenger, Fire Discipline, Leader, these are all passive abilities, so they're always helping people that are in the leadership radius. And these are really kind of potent abilities. And the reason I do this is because, one, this way they're always helping me, and usually I need my specialists to be doing something with their, you know, they're going to move and they're going to do something. I don't usually have the extra actions to be using abilities where you have to actually use it as an action. And you know, for some of these, like Oscar Mike, usable once per mission. Once per mission for Get Some. You know, use those are gone, whereas Collector, Fire Display, these are always active. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. In the loadout, my hacker rocks the Skulljack because you get something about extra hacking score for this, but also their hacking score is usually gone up because of the hopefully getting combat or not combat enemy protocols and stuff like that. So they're just better at it anyway. Plasma rifle with the superior scope, a superior expanded magazine to make those Overwatch shots connect as frequently as possible, so you can chain them. And then standard Warden armor for the armor. The combat medic follows pretty much the same pattern. They're almost exclusively on their side of the tree. And while I get to stick to that side for covering fire, I then pop over to Combat Hacker for Guardian. Ever Vigilant, letting you Overwatch if all you do is move, so you can like dash and Overwatch, or get multiple Overwatch shots in a round potentially. Guardian is just too good not to take, in my opinion. And then you know, your battle medic abilities are basically to your safety net, which, you know, when you start getting up to those gatekeepers and Andromeda and Sectopods, you're likely to need these every once in a while. In this case, I gave this soldier a speed PCS just for a little bit extra mobility. It's nice to be able to like get those a couple extra tiles, maybe pull a flank, or you know, get to cover. A lot of good reasons to have that extra mobility. For their gear, pretty much follows the same as the Combat Hacker. You just trade the Skulljack for the medkit. Same weapon upgrades on the plasma rifle, although in this case I only have the advanced scope, I don't have an extra superior one yet. But all in all, they fulfill the same role. The specialists in my squad kind of anchor the team. They're usually the center of the forward battle line, so they can be employing those Overwatch abilities to good effect. And also, that way, everybody's kind of in the range of the command areas from the leader. My Grenadier is using the Rage Armor, but first we'll talk about abilities. So, I start with Heavy Gunner because Shredder and Suppression are just really, really awesome. And then it's all about the grenades. Extra grenades, more boom, being able to, you know, throw out lots of boom, destroying all sorts of cover and hitting multiple enemies. These are all things that I use to soften enemies up for serial, or to clear the cover to make field shots easier, and obviously to strip armor off with Shredder. It's a pretty straightforward configuration, I think, and probably doesn't take a whole lot of explaining. superior conditioning PCS to make sure that if he does kind of move forward into the line of fire, that he can soak it a little better. He does have 2 armor because of the powered armor, analog from the rage armor, which helps him, maybe take a couple extra hits if necessary. Again, hopefully I'm not getting shot at all. So, in terms of loadout, we've got the rage armor, beam cannon with a stock and an auto loader that makes sure he's always got rounds available, and even if he misses, because his aim isn't exceptional, he's still doing damage. This means that his Overwatch is still going to be helpful, even though his aim isn't, as high as my specialist or my sniper. It just helps a little bit more when I'm starting these engagements off. Advanced grenade launcher for obvious reasons. The blaster launcher, which I consider the best power weapon in the game. It's like a plasma grenade that goes exactly where you want it, regardless of how far and the angle of the throw and the terrain in between. It's in all ways awesome. A mimic beacon, as in, oh crap, I don't want to die kind of thing. And then a plasma grenade, which you actually get 2 of because of that heavy ordnance ability. I really don't think there needs a lot more explanation here. The Grenadier's job, like I said, is to clear cover, soften enemies up for the sniper to take out, maybe with serial to get all those kills, and just generally make the enemies easier for the rest of the group to take care of. And then, of course, you get the Psi Operative, which, unlike the other troops, you don't really have to choose their abilities. You can just train them until they have everything, which is what I do. He's got everything. I don't really think I need to explain the abilities very much. Most people are probably familiar with them. Just having access to all of them gives him a ton of tools. Superior Focus PCS with the extra will. Pretty no-brainer on that one. And we will go and check out his loadout. Working standard armor, plasma bolt caster, which this is easy replaceable with a plasma rifle if you are not running the Alien Hunters DLC. If you are going to use a plasma rifle, I recommend a stock, probably, and maybe a hair trigger, so you get a chance of taking extra shots. My side trooper is probably only shooting 1 time out of 4. Most of the times he's using side abilities, so I'm not too worried about that. Alien Psyamp for obvious reasons, plasma grenade for kind of an emergency, you need to clear some things out, and another mimic beacon just to serve as extra insurance policy. So that is the squad. So now we'll talk a little bit about the strategic and tactical considerations. First I'll do kind of like a little diagram that kind of shows what my thought process is, and then something within the mission itself to kind of give a more practical illustration. So I will see you guys shortly. So this is a representation in very simple form of kind of what I'm aiming at when I start an engagement. As you can see, I got the sniper that's supposed to be in an elevated position at the bottom of the screen with good sight lines across the entire enemy pod. I've got the 2 specialists anchoring the center of my forward line, who are either far enough away not to be revealed if I'm no longer concealed, or are as close as I can get them while staying concealed if they are. The Grenadier and the Psi Operative form the flanks. Usually they're pretty much online, sometimes a little bit ahead or behind as cover dictates. And it doesn't really matter which side they're on. This is usually I have one on each side so that I can respond whichever way the enemy happens to run if they don't all die. And then up at the top on the right, as I have a Ranger, and what I'm trying to illustrate here is that the Ranger should try to have as much cover from his sides as possible. You know, if you're far enough away but you can still see just the single cover, probably be all right. I like to have corner cover just to maximize the chances that somebody's not able to dash to a position on their scamper that's going to reveal the Ranger. I try to maximize the chances of keeping that Ranger concealed. In this case, I would probably be sitting with the Specialist in Overwatch and then the Grenadier opening up or the Sniper opening up the engagement, depending on whether I feel I need to use Kill Zone on the Sniper, and then mopping up whatever survives the hail of Overwatch fire. I'm less likely to use Overwatch on targets that are really difficult, like if I have a pod that's, say, a couple Andromedons or like a Gatekeeper and an Andromedon. It's just something kind of weird that's got a lot of power. I want to make sure that I am not in a situation that I'm not going to have the tools necessary to eliminate that pod. Like Advent Soldiers only, where it's like an officer, a trooper, and a stun lance or something. I'm pretty confident using those Overwatch shots to kill them. But the tougher I think the enemy is going to be, the more likely I am just to reveal and then react. I want to make sure that I really have the opportunity to kill them without risking them getting a chance to shoot me. Alright, now as a practical demonstration, hopefully you can see I'll zoom into a couple different areas, but I've kind of used my concealment to maneuver myself into a position that I think is going to be the best for this engagement. I've used my Ranger, who is located over here by this van. I swung around wide after identifying this pod of enemies, who initially started back here. But after moving up my Ranger to this trash can, they moved over to here. There were some civilians here that I'd swing wide of as well. But I managed to kind of track them around. I noticed they moved up to here, and so I was figuring, oh, maybe they're going to be patrolling, and they did in fact patrol, and so I maneuvered my team into a position to kind of ambush them out of this house. So I've got the Sniper that's in an elevated position, not necessarily as far back as I might like to have been, and also these trees do make the line of sight a bit sketchy. I'm actually not sure why I can't see that other Andromedon, but, not Andromedon, Archon, great Archons in this case. But so my Sniper is in a pretty darn good position up top. It's going to have a good line of sight and just really be ready to rock. Now down below, I've got one Specialist who's kind of in a... I've almost formed an L-shaped ambush area here. It's not quite. If I really had it the way I might have wanted it, I probably would have had the Specialist over here. But doing that could expose me to more enemies over here, so I haven't gone over this fence or anything. And so I've got a Specialist here. I've got another one that's in very close, ready here. The Psi Operative I moved into here because this lets him react to this outside if necessary. And also, a lot of his abilities don't require a line of sight. I can just fling them through walls. And so this spreads him out a little bit and gives me just better flexibility to react without having to have him, tied up right next to other people. And then the Grenadier is back here just because heavy cover and the window. So that's the basic formation that I'd use for my concealment engagement, and it's just try to use that to the best of my ability to make sure that I'm going to wipe this pod out. That is the goal. Utterly obliterate this pod. And in this case, to do so, I will probably open up with the Grenadier, and I will put the Sniper on Kill Zone, because then I can get an Overwatch shot on all three of them, because the grenade will reveal, and then Kill Zone should trigger. Kill Zone's odd. It doesn't always work the way that you think it should, or the description says it should, but in general, you can count on it to work the way it ought to. And then I can also put both of my Specialists on Overwatch, and between the Sniper Rifle and the Guardian abilities, that should pretty well work the enemy over. And that will leave me with the... well, since I'll be using Salvo, I'll still have another action with the Grenadier if necessary, and then also I'll have my Psi Operative to kind of clean up the mess. So let's take a look and see how that's going to actually play out for me. Of course, you always have to remember that no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Locking it down.
So things can always go wrong, and they will go wrong.
On Overwatch.
So it's good to have that plan of like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, what's my out? How am I going to get my people out of this unreamed?
Eyes on the prize.
So I've got my 3 Overwatch sets up, and I could start off with like a Void Rift. However, since I don't have line of sight, I don't think I'll get the insanity proc, and so the grenade is a little bit stronger of a move here. And I will also luck out a little bit in that my grenade will clear this tree, which should give my sniper perfect LOS.
Boom! We've been spotted.
Might be something we could use here.
That's Guardian.
Enemies down. Target neutralized.
Textbook. And Guardian procced on my field medic as well, so she is remaining in Overwatch, which is pretty awesome. So that if another enemy pod were to patrol into me, she would also get another shot. Really hard to say no to that. Furthermore, with Killzone still up, I could conceivably get another bit of awesomeness that way as well. So that is what I would call pretty much a textbook out of concealment engagement at this stage of the game. And those weren't the easiest enemies either. That wasn't necessarily like a all Advent Trooper pod too. So it also shows that your concealment ambushes can still work with the right abilities and equipment. If things hadn't gone my way and let's say one of the Archons was still alive, I probably would have mopped him up with either Soulfire or like a No Lance shot through the wall for my Psi Operative. I also would have had another shot with my Grenadier if necessary. With all of that, I would have been very surprised if more than one survived. But I may have had to adapt a little bit more, if so. But all in all, that worked exactly the way I wanted to. So next, I will hopefully move up and find another group that I can show you a kind of a more range control activation where my ranger is spotting for the team who is already revealed, so I can hit a pod without them knowing that I'm there yet, even though I am revealed. Okay, so now we can see that I've moved my ranger up, and I've identified a pod here, and they're the ones that are shooting the relay that I'm supposed to protect. I managed to kind of squeak my ranger past this scan tower, and up to where they don't quite have the reveal radius. I think the reveal radius was somewhere right around here, but I have to have visibility on all of them. My sniper has visibility on 2, and that's because I believe the one inside is just blocked by the wall. And so my goal here is to get the rest of my team as close as possible without triggering the enemy. I do need to be a little cautious on this side. You can see I already kind of moved these guys out. They still have one action left, and I'll probably try to maybe move them up to here. But I do need to be cautious on this side over here, because I do not want to trigger another group right now. If I did still have kill zone, I could throw that up, and when whichever one of them attempted to shoot the beacon or the transmitter, it should trigger and then activate the pod, which would work because that would be on their turn. But unfortunately, I used it on that last group, so I don't have that ability available to me at this moment. So the trick here is to use the line of sight indicator. This isn't perfect, but so you can see, like, if I were to move here, they're going to see me. However, this position is not. And so what I do is I just trace back See, that's a bad spot right there. Can't use that. However, that's okay. So what I probably want to do... See, that's a bad one too. I want to move probably here. In theory, that should be safe. Now, what is my plan if this goes wrong? I still have my sniper to act, so I can fire, and my grenadier still has an action, so I can throw a mimic beacon. That's my, it's kind of my fail-safe. So let's see what we get.
Whatever you say.
Excellent. It worked. Now here's where it gets real sketch, because now I don't have that fail-safe anymore. So, again, using a nice zoomed out, see what I can see. So, like, as long as I don't get up to that, I should be fine. The problem is, any of these are going to get me. So what I need to do... Actually, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need to move the Grenadier first. In. Unfortunately... Okay, hold on.
Headed there now.
And now...
Position confirmed.
That's about as close as I'm going to be able to get. At this point, unfortunately, I don't know if I can get my leader any closer because these are all just not good positions. Okay, and so I opted in the end just to bring her to here. She's standing in the open, but that shouldn't be an issue. She's not concealed, and so even if a pod does wander into me, they shouldn't shoot at me directly. But this gets her a little bit closer so that she can hopefully respond to stuff that happens. You know, move up to here. You know, I've got options of things I can do. But they're going to get an action first, so just one moment. We'll see where we're at.
Overwatch, scanning.
Standing fast.
They decided to move, which means my sniper's going to start shooting. And get wasted by my specialist.
They're moving! Target down.
Oh dear, there's something back there. But now it's a standard engagement. I've already killed one of them. There's two more active stun lancers, and I'm in a very powerful position. My sniper has got 100% shots on both of them. My ranger is in tight if I need to break that cover. One of them is already flanked. Because... Oh, he's flanked by the ranger, actually. But I'm in a very strong position for this engagement. And that's basically what my doctrine is all about. It's controlling the terms of the engagement to make sure that I'm in the best position possible to eliminate the enemy before they have a chance to hurt me. XCOM 2 is really a game where the best defense is a good offense. You know, cover can help. You know, your abilities can help. But the best way not to get hurt is don't let them shoot at you. You know? So, that's what that is. I'm not going to go through the rest of the mission because I think that this is probably illustrated pretty much everything that can be illustrated in a general fashion. There's just too many specific things that could happen that, you know, to cover them all individually, and trying to set them all up would be just a nightmare. So that's going to be it for this Doctrine video. I think I've explained everything well. Get your sniper high with good line of sight. Get your Phantom Ranger in a position to spot enemies early so that you don't stumble into them and activate them on your turn. And then set yourself up the best you can so that when you do trigger the enemies on your terms, you can wipe them out that first round. If you have any questions, any specific questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll see if I can answer them. I don't make any guarantees on how fast, but I should notice pretty quickly and answer questions as they come in. I hope this video has been pretty informative. I hope that it's maybe given you some ideas for your own type of battle plans and your own doctrines. If it's something that you think would work for you, then by all means, make it happen, Captain. It's worked really well for me. I've completed playthroughs on Legendary without losing, no, strike that. I still lost people on Legend. I think it was 2 or 3. Still felt pretty good about it. I've completed Commander with no losses. It's been pretty strong for me. So, minimize the ways the RNG can screw you. That's kind of the name of the game. Again, I hope this has been informative. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all again soon for more XCOM 2, maybe something else. But until then, take care.
Our troops are making it look easy out there, Commander. All thanks to you.